Hey everybody, this is Nathan's Art Show. Almost forgot the title of my own show, but that's life. I'm here with Clint Westwood. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good, brother. How are you? What's going on today?
I'm good. It's one of those days where I woke up late, it's rainy, and I was feeling a little off, so I went and weightlifted, and now I feel amazing. So it's like, I don't know, that's how life works, I guess. You just gotta go anyway, and you start feeling better.
Exactly. You know what? I'll tell you what. Usually I'm in pretty up and pretty positive, and that kind of thing. Yesterday and today even, I don't know if I'm not sleeping well or what. I got enough sleep, but I just kind of feel off and a little, you know what I mean? Kind of that, and it could be, everything going on in the world, finally gets to you, that kind of stuff. But you're right. And I said, and even today, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really even up to do an interview. I don't have the pep. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it and it's going to be great. And it's kind of the same thing like you're saying, you just get up and do something and move forward. It's so easy to kind of just wallow and, not do something, but, take action and then you work yourself out of this stuff. So, yeah, that's awesome. You worked out, man.
Yeah, I got really I got really chubby over the last few months. So I'm
Yeah.
working myself out of that hole. But yeah, there's something weird. I've noticed a lot of people not feeling as good right now. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe it's like allergies or something because the seasons are changing. But
It could be because, we were warm early. I mean, we were at 63 degrees. I'm in Illinois, but we were at 63
okay,
degrees the other day. For February, that's pretty warm, so things might be waking up. You see flies and bugs coming out, so obviously other things probably wake up. So that could be something to do with it too. Early seasonal changes.
yeah, for sure. I'm in Charlotte, by the way, and it was like 80
Okay.
degrees yesterday. So that was
Oh yeah.
nice. But I was born and raised in Illinois. I lived there for the first
Were you?
25 years of my life.
Really?
In Lake County, Illinois, so right outside of
Okay.
Chicago.
Up north, yeah,
Um,
for me. I'm in the
yeah, like a town
Peoria
called
area,
Gurnee.
more south. I know where you're at.
Okay.
Yeah, Six Flags up by Gurney.
Six Flags. Yeah, I live kind of near there. You can hear people screaming all the time. Ah, they're falling down the
Right?
roller coasters or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Illinois was a good area to grow up in. I like the farm countries.
Yeah.
City's crazy, but I mean all
Hmm.
cities are crazy. Where I live
Exactly.
now is pretty crazy. I live in like a nice part of town, but as I look out the window, there's like this place for like people that are like having issues in their life. They call it like a men's
Okay.
center or something. And there's a train track that runs by there. So there's people like homeless people like walking up and down this area all the time. Somebody even got shot the other day.
Oh
So
no.
it's like a weird it's a weird area. So
Well,
yeah,
you're
and then you
bringing the
cross the
light to the
street.
darkness, so that's good.
Yeah, and you cross the street and it's like the nice side of town. It's like literally like one street. So it's totally crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must be true what they say about those train tracks. You're on the wrong side of the tracks. Look
I'm,
out.
I'm on the
The other
wrong side of
side's
the track.
fine.
They're making me pay the same rent as the good side of the track, so that's where they get you. They're like,
That
you can
doesn't
see
seem
the nice
fair.
stuff, so you're paying hard.
Well, you
Um,
pay for the view. That's it.
yeah, but Charlotte's a great city. Chicago's
That's what
got
I
some
hear.
great areas too. Like I think it's one of the greatest cities in the world, despite its issues.
Yeah, it
Uh,
really does.
yeah,
It's museums and there's a lot of culture there and the history. I mean, it is. I mean, it's like any city, though. I think for the most part, it's cities are cities. They're not really that sustainable in a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of unnaturalness to it.
yeah,
But there are pockets of beauty wherever you go. People look at me and say, "Why do you live in Illinois? That place is crazy. It's a blue. They're nuts. It's like no, it's just a few pockets. I mean, the rest of this
yeah,
where I live is wonderful. I live out in farm
yeah.
country, and so I mean, it's a little slice of heaven. I mean, so.
It's a lot better, even like despite like whatever political territory people live in. It seems to be better than people think once they get out of their own heads. A lot of your podcast is about that kind of. It
Yeah.
feels like it's you exploring the area outside of your own head and addressing the things going on in other people's minds almost. Like
Yeah.
I remember listening to you talk about like silver a lot, and
Yeah.
then silver exploded, right? And then you're talking about
Yeah.
collecting nickels and like how
Yeah.
an ounce of gold is always the same price as a cow. And like what
Right.
led
Right.
you into that mindset? Like what was it that got you interested in all that stuff initially?
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought, just to go back to silver, really it came back to I always knew something was wrong in the fabric of society. And, it kind of came down to me, it's like, what's wrong? This is wrong, that's wrong, this doesn't seem right, that doesn't seem right. And this was early on, probably in my 20s. Well, even before that, subconsciously, I think. But, in my 20s, I start to quantify it and start thinking, we all feel like misfits here, I think. I do anyway. It's like, that's something, I just don't fit in. You know what I mean? But I kind of quantified it down to really it comes down to at the core of many things, it's the money. The money's wrong, the money's broken, it causes all these problems, because they can print whatever they want, create all kinds of issues. It's just unlimited, no restraint. That's never good for anything in life. Moderation in all things. And so that kind of got me into the silver side of things. Hey, sound money. I want something that's going to hold my value over time. My energy's not getting stolen, something that, and so that's what got me into silver. That led to crypto eventually. But I've always sought out things of real value,
Mhm.
and not because of the price tag, but because of what it does, the use case. What is valuable to me specifically, and I think what is overall could be something valuable to everybody else because I see value in it and I share that. But that's kind of my outlook on life. I seek out value, and what I mean by that is like this shirt I wear. I bought it for like $2 at a thrift store. It was like brand new, and so
Yeah,
I shop that way, and I try to find things like the diamond in the rough, so to speak. Because
yeah,
I don't want to be ostentatious or anything like that. That's not me. It's not my personality. But I like to seek out things that have, that are valuable, and that may be beauty and, art. I love that you do art, things like that have meaning and purpose. And that's what kind of led me into that stuff, the silver, and understanding that I like that more than gold because I think gold is, for the same amount, and what silver does, it's like, okay, I'll pay, $50 for this, but I'm not paying 5,000 for this, you know what I mean? It just doesn't
yeah,
feel right to me. So
yeah. No, I understand what you mean. And as far as value goes, I truly believe, and I've heard like a lot of famous motivational speakers and finance gurus say this, but I really believe it's about what value you provide to the world around you, not about like
yeah,
how hard you work or how many
right.
hours or anything. It's about value. Um, like if I work 10 hours on a painting and it sells for $10,000 and somebody else works 10 hours at their job and they make $100, like 10 hours is 10 hours and you can't ever get those 10 hours back. So the more value you provide per minute, the more the life or the more your life is going to benefit from that, your story, your path, whatever you want to call it. And then the world benefits more too. So like
Yeah.
I've always encouraged people to find value in everything because if not, they're like literally wasting their time and their life force.
Mm.
And you mentioned crypto. I know that
Uh-huh.
you're like big in what the Litecoin community, Digibyte.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, those are the two that I really resonate most with. Yeah.
and what is it about those two? If you had
I
to
like
kind
it
of,
from yeah, yeah, if I can kind of boil it down, I guess what really attracts me to those and why I stick with it and really resonate with it is because one, I like the proof of work decentralized concept of it, to
yeah,
where anybody can do it and participate in it and use their energy, which would be, purchasing mining equipment, maintaining it, paying the electric bill, you're giving energy to all that stuff, and so you can get rewarded by that and participate in that network. I like the decentralization factor of that because you are creating a new ecosystem of energy, that you can transfer, wherever you want. I like the soundness of it because both of those there are blockchains that have never been interrupted. I mean, they've worked since day one, since the first block
mhm,
came out. So there's never been any of that. It has a great deal of community support. That's important to me. You've got a long community in both of them that really believe in it, use it, and that's the big thing, using it. It's one thing to speculate on price, and that's why I really don't resonate as much with Bitcoin, just from the standpoint of a lot of it is price appreciation. That's really all, it's,
yeah,
and I don't really, I want something that I can use. I want something that I know because, I mean, I've had it happen with other cryptocurrencies to where, when the networks get congested, fees get really high. And I think, I don't even want to use this at this point. It doesn't work for me right now. And that's the frustrations. And so I've never experienced that. And maybe at some point, when more use case comes, but that with Litecoin Digibyte, it's not an issue. I like to be able to have something that I have in my own possession. I keep my energy. I use it whenever I want, and I don't have to ask for permission. And
Yeah.
that's what I really like. And I know they're going to work. And so that's really why I like those things, the community. And, it's just all those things. To me, I see an overall value in that. And so
Yeah.
that's really why I like those two.
Yeah, there seems to be more of like, so especially like the Litecoin community seems to be
Mhm.
pretty like rabid like supporters.
Yeah. Very,
I think
very
that
big
you're right.
supporters.
Like, yeah, super, super
Yeah.
like just all in. I like Bitcoin in the sense that it's like the OG. I like
Yeah.
proof of work. I mean, I
Right.
think that proof of stake is cool, but I
Right.
mean, it's easier to corrupt because somebody could, capture the network by just buying tons of stake in the network. And then
Right.
I always like proof of work. I feel like it's more interesting because it's about literally like energy currency.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and Litecoin, I think is really special in the sense that it's like digital silver,
Yeah.
or at least that's how it's marketed.
Yeah.
Do you think that with Bitcoin, it's like been corrupted by like the fintech and finance community? And I like the community. I have a lot of friends there, but do you think it's
Yeah.
just been kind of like taken over by the finance community?
That's my sense. I mean, because the early days of Bitcoin, I mean, there was that core spirit, that adherence to the Satoshi white paper, that true belief that peer-to-peer electronic currency, that cashless system with no intermediary. I mean, that was important and that was a core value. And I've
Yeah,
seen that just kind of, I've seen a lot of those players, a lot of those people that really supported it just kind of fade away. And then in the void, yeah, you've definitely seen almost this new narrative, that it's a store of value, don't use it, hold it forever. And it's
yeah,
but to me, that's you're playing right into exactly that financial institutional thing that it railed against from the get-go. And now it's almost that, yes, please, number go up, yes, this is what I want. And to me, I just don't resonate with that. That's wonderful. I mean, it is. I mean, if you find an asset that's undervalued and it goes up, but I mean, it has to me, it has, I can't sell something I don't believe in. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And so to me, it's like I have to resonate with what it does. And that's why I really just kind of fall into the Litecoin side of things, because it's always, everybody in the community uses it. I mean, they
mhm,
use it as digital money, and that's what it's there for. I mean, it's great to, it has fundamentals like Bitcoin. There's only four times as many, and it is scarce. And with 84 million, all that exists, but people use it and they understand that it's not something that you just sit on and think that it's just some, as my friend Lisa says, she's a Picasso in the attic. You know what I mean? Put it on display, use it, enjoy it, just experience it. And that's what I like. Most people in the community, including myself, I like to use it and use it as money, digital money.
yeah. Yeah, like, and did you guys meet? I always see you guys do that show together. Did you guys meet through the Litecoin community?
Yeah, kind of early on. It was 2019. There was a meetup in Blanco, Texas. It was in April, and I'd talked to her before that, and then we'd done an interview on her channel, and then I met her in person that first time. She was kind of doing a charity. She has a daughter who passed away, and she has a charity for her, and that's how I met her. And then since then, I mean, I think for years, every Friday we do a happy hour show, and we've done meetups that we've gone, and just done meetups in different places of the country, where we do a live show and then do an educational class and teach people how to download a wallet, write down their seed phrase. I'd send them a little Litecoin, and just to show the experience, of how cryptocurrency works. And that's empowering, because a lot of people will just buy it on Coinbase and let it sit, or buy it on an
Yeah,
exchange and let it sit there as a speculative asset, like a stock almost.
yeah,
And to me, I like to, do that hands-on thing where you actually, like a Saturday today, the bank's closed. You can go to a meetup, and that's usually when we do the class. Here, download this wallet, set it up. You got your seed phrase. Don't lose that. You're empowered. This is your wallet. This is your bank. This is yours. You're your own
yeah,
bank. And then sending that to them, and it shows up. It's like I just transferred you money, transferred you value, transferred you energy. Nobody stopped you from doing it. You can do it
yeah,
any time of the day. And getting that to click, that's the beauty of cryptocurrency, I think, is that you are self-empowering. You have your energy in your control, and you are using a network of decentralized computers that just make it work because they're all in agreement. They all have the same constitution, the same code, and they're all, and it all just works together. And there's something beautiful about that to me. And experiencing that, it's important to do.
Yeah.
And so I encourage that, all the time. Use it, just try it.
That's one aspect I think that people are going to really appreciate once it's too late. I mean, it seems
Right.
like a lot of people, we things seem so like everything just seems like it's going to last forever. Like the day seems so long, but your life feels so short when you look back on it. So like when you're looking ahead, everything's like, I can't wait to get there, and then when it's gone, it's
Right.
like, oh no, it's gone. And I think that's one thing about decentralization and about peer-to-peer money that people underestimate. And then when they look at everything as a speculative asset, they're forgetting the fact that there might come a time, and it's been predicted by almost everybody in every political ideology, any nationality, religious sect, anything that you want to equate this opinion to, like they've all agreed to the same concept, and that's that we'll probably lose some sense of freedom at some point, and it will probably start with financial freedom. Do you think that people are gonna really understand this when it's too late, or do you think that we will start to grasp onto it as a society?
I think a lot of people really know it now subconsciously, but
Yeah.
we continue, it's like a cognitive dissonance, we continue to do the same things because, I mean, if I watch people when they pay for things, hardly
Mhm.
anybody uses cash. It's all digital. But then you'll have the same people say that I'll never take the mark of the beast, or I'll
Yeah.
never, but you're carrying a phone around that tracks you and you do everything on your phone all the time,
Yeah.
voluntarily doing it. And then you're paying digitally, I mean, using a centralized agency to transfer money. I mean, you're not, I mean, at what point, here's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Some people will say, when I get rich, I'm going to donate money to charity. I'm going to do all these things. And I think, okay, you should be doing it now with what
Yeah.
you
Do it
have at your
now.
disposal, if that's in your heart. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, I'm never going to do this. And if this ever happens, I'll be out there with guns, and I'm going to stop it. But you're slowly already entering into it. You're slowly every day through every action, every choice that you make, participating in what I call a vampire casino. I mean, you're
Right.
choosing to do that and you're giving that vampire your energy. It doesn't have energy if you don't give it to him. And that's a vampire.
Yeah.
They're useless, they're soulless, they have nothing. They're just a shell, a bunch of, dead flesh, but you give it life. You're the one that gives it energy. It's your energy. It's our energy that makes all this stuff work. So in small steps every day, we have to be conscious of that what are we doing to participate in something that we fundamentally don't believe in?
Hmm.
And so it's hard for people to get their heads around that, in the moment, the big picture out in the future. Yeah, I would never do that. But you're kind of, this is the slow boiling frog. This is how these generational families do things. They think generationally because
Yeah.
that's, they've been around for a long time. So these systems that they put in place, they know what they're doing, they understand human psychology. And so we have to be conscious of that every day and every action that we make to try and do something that benefits our energy and we use it properly rather than participating in it, even at the smallest levels.
Yeah.
So there will be an awakening. I mean, but again, is it too late? You're already trapped in a digital matrix to where you're in a 15-minute city and you can't go anywhere, and you're
Right.
dependent. So be conscious of that if you think that's an issue and make changes now. So everybody go out and
Yeah.
get chickens if you got room to do it. Have your,
That's
I mean, little things like that. Plus that brings a lot of enjoyment, to watch it. So
absolutely. Like, so I have two places. I have the apartment in Charlotte, and then about an hour and a half into, I call it the middle of nowhere. I have like a little house, and there's goats and chickens and
oh,
all
that's
kind of
nice.
stuff. And it's like a really small town. There's like sort of like halfway between hills and mountains, so it's like kind of remote, kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
there's people, but not many. Um, and I feel like that's where I'd always go if things got totally crazy. And it makes me think about something you mentioned, like this kind of vampire casino. Do you think that we're in like some kind of spiritual battle, like a lot of people say, to where eventually we'll have to find new places, new people, new things? Which dog is that, by the way? I listen to your podcast. Is
Oh,
that,
you can hear her? Oh,
yeah.
that's Tilly, the big one. Tilly, come on.
Okay.
Come here. You want to come over here and get a cameo? No.
Yeah, it's fine. I welcome dogs on the show. If they
I
want to
know, I
get
love
interviewed,
dogs.
we'll try.
Yeah, if they want to come over, I'll pick her up, but she doesn't like to be picked up. The little one might, Franny.
The one that always
Yeah, I
talks like
really,
on the show.
yeah, I know. It's just dogs everywhere. Dogs in the car, navigating, yeah, jumping up, looking for squirrels. Fun stuff. I do believe that. No, I think it is a spiritual battle. I really do. And I
Okay.
think this is something that's been going on for centuries since the beginning of time. And we may think that, whatever belief systems that we have in the current day, that, this party, that person, that side's going to save us. Temporarily, they may make it better, but the long term thing is, I think it always comes down to us as individual choices. It's an individual choice. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying. We have to make choices and weigh, hundreds of choices a day, what we do. And that those small choices paint the big picture of, where we are and, what our path is. And it's really up to us to make those individual choices. There are I mean, we are mixtures of good and evil, I guess, to use those general terms. I mean, we
Yeah.
have the option, the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, constantly in turmoil. That's us. And
Yeah.
we can look at external forces and say, well, it's because of this or because of this entity or that force that's causing, all these problems. But ultimately, any religion, it comes down to you, a personal choice,
Yeah.
what you decide to do. I mean, those things really don't have a factor. They do, but ultimately you do make the choice. And so I think, yeah, it's definitely an internal spiritual battle at the individual level, to where we have to choose where we want to align ourselves, and again, where we want our energy. And the only thing we're responsible for, the most important thing I should say we're responsible for, is our own soul. And so we need to
Right.
be conscious of that. And anything bad that happens to us, use that as a learning experience. Don't beat
Yeah.
yourself up. Don't think that, or the devil made me do it or anything like that. You did it, own it. And come to grips with that and look at yourself and say, okay, I need to fix that, rather than projecting that out and blaming it on something else, because you do have the power to fix it. No matter what caused it, you are taking action and making decisions that might be unhealthy, that might not be good for you. And you just have to have that recognition, that you can create your own future, your own path. It's how you deal with it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad things can happen in life, but it's how you react to it and how you move forward. You either learn from it and change, um, or you don't. And then that causes a lot of other issues, if you don't confront those things. So really it is. And I see bigger forces at work. There are more people that are aligned with this darker energy sometimes, that are in control, definitely. But you have to be aware of that. And so you ask yourself, what can I do differently to not participate in that, and to make my life better, and to seek out beauty in life, and be that light that, affects people, because you do have an effect with every action that you do. And
Yeah.
I always look at it, hey, you can be in a room full of darkness, but if you're that one match, that diffuses out and lights up a lot of that room.
Yeah.
And that maybe give inspiration to somebody else in that darkness, that they light their match. And and then that grows as you're together, and it feeds on itself, and it's very powerful. It takes very few people, um, with the right spirit, mindset, fire burning, to change things, because people see that, and it
Right.
gives people hope. And that's important, to inspire people. So be that
Yeah.
inspiration, be that light, and that's how you fight that spiritual war.
I agree, and it does start with yourself as an individual. Like,
Hmm.
I listen to this guy Jim Rohn. He's like a famous like self help
Yeah, yeah,
guy,
yeah.
and he's like one of my favorites. And he always talks about his mentor Earl Schoaf, and he was like, I think he was 25 when he met Earl, and he had this whole list of reasons why his life wasn't working out. He had like
Yeah.
his family members, the government, taxes, all these things, which obviously have some impact on our psychology, but those aren't the reasons. You know, people can't make you do anything. You still have some
Right.
agency over your life. So I guess his mentor like patiently listened and looked at the list, and he's like, you know, I don't see you on this list anywhere. Like, where are you on the list? And he said that,
Right.
yeah, he said like everything changes when you start to change, and so I
Yeah.
truly believe that. And when it comes to like having personal agency and the ability to change, and then this spiritual battle that we talk about, do you think that there's like any sort of like daily practice people can do to kind of help guide themselves out of the darkness and become that light for others?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it in my own life, if I, because there are days. I mean, you have days to where it's just like, oh man, you drop something in the sink, you
Yeah,
knock something over, and it's just like little things. You're like, this day is not aligning properly, and you just feel
yeah,
that energy. I mean, it's like, okay, you take a step back. And so I think a good practice for me is the opposite of that list. What are the good things in your life? What are you
yeah.
thankful for? And I always half jokingly say, well, I'm thankful for the sun and I'm thankful for oxygen. I
Me
mean,
too.
start with that. I mean, honestly, because, okay, think about it. If the sun didn't come up, where are we at?
Yeah,
I'm grateful that that happens. If I don't have oxygen, where are you at? That's not a good situation. And so, just starting with something as simple as that, it's like, wow, my feet can hit the floor. I can actually walk. I can
yeah.
see. I can hear, I can smell, I can experience all these wonderful things. Wow, the trees look, you just all the little things that we take for granted. Because listen, you turn on the news, they're not talking about good news,
No,
and then we think that all this stuff is happening. Well, it's always been happening. It's just now we have all this media that focuses on it. But if you turn that off and you look around at your real life, it's like you don't know that any of that's happening. It's because it's not affecting you directly, but you're allowing that into your life by it's breaking news, and it's just, but when you allow that stuff in, it can change your behavior. And so you just realize that what you have in front of you is the most important thing, and what you can do and what you can impact is the most important thing, because that's what you can influence. You can influence it badly, you can influence it for the good. And
mm,
so it's best to every day when you're feeling down is to look at those things. Wow, what are you grateful for? Kind of make a list. And that tends to, oh, I'm like, why am I worried about this stuff? This is silly. I mean, look at all the beautiful things I have in my life. I put that stuff away. Stop. Get out of the moment and look at the bigger picture of what you are thankful, grateful for, and blessed with. That works for
absolutely.
me.
Like it's amazing how much happier we are with less stuff. I mean,
Oh
don't
yeah,
get me wrong, I like stuff. I mean, we all have
sure.
things, we like
I know.
possessions, just things that make
Let's
us
jump in the
comfortable.
bar,
Yeah, like I've got all kind of crap around my apartment, but like
right.
it seems like once the phone is off, the problems do disappear. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost like I know it's created to make our lives better, but there are actively like there's people literally programming apps to get people more addicted. It's their job.
Yeah. That's
Um,
exactly
so
right.
so I mean, without like without like turning off the phone and like becoming a monk, I'm not sure. Other than gratitude and some of these practices, obviously, I'm not sure what people can really find solace in if they don't have some sort of like routine or something. Like I was on the brink of like self-destruction at one point in my life. I had like a lot of mental health issues. I was
Yep.
depressed, I was anxious, and I still get
Sure.
sad and stuff. Like I'm a
Yeah.
human, but it's not the same. I was like suicidal for a long time, multiple times in my life, and it always seemed to be when I was just fully loose, without a routine, without gratitude, without some sort of like spiritual practice, like if I wasn't
Yeah.
feeling connected to God or something. Like
Right.
there's all these like things that just make you feel like you're free, but that freedom seems to be some sort of like prison in a weird way. Isn't it like do you think that discipline is a sense of freedom?
I think it is. It is. And, and when you're talking about those things, that's kind of the next level. First of all, be grateful for what you have. The second thing is you
Yeah,
can take action and do something like working out in a routine, because you feel better when you work out. I mean, I
literally.
go through my phases to where, I used to work out a lot, and, now I'll work out for 6 months, and I'll be like, okay, shoulder hurts. All right, I'm going to take a break, and things like that. But when you work out, it's very because you're seeing improvement, immediate improvement, and you
Mhm.
feel better, you feel stronger, we're meant to be moving and doing things. So, just go take a walk,
Yeah.
start with that, make that part of your routine, because just getting out and moving and the blood flow and all we're meant to be moving around, not just sitting, and
Yeah.
that we'll call it, and then you're going to eat. And then, who knows what else, you'll get an idle mind, kind of thing, just watching, being programmed with things. But go out and interact. When you start interacting with things and get into that, get busy and do things like that, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Breathing, meditating, just being quiet. If you
Yeah.
can just make yourself be quiet and just be thoughtful, I mean, that's a very good practice too. Just take maybe just 5 minutes and just sit down and breathe, deep breaths, and that's good for your body. That's good for your mind. And then, you can focus on, peaceful things, good things, connect with your creator. I mean, that's, it's
Yeah.
very important. And so those are easy things to do. But yeah, walking, I mean, just doing things that are positive. And yeah, structure is good, discipline is good. It keeps you, I'm on task. These are things I need to do. Maybe spend, 20 minutes just reading, and that's your reading time. And this is what I'm going to do. But it focuses you on doing things and giving yourself value, and keeping yourself to a point where you're accountable to yourself more than anything, rather than just being frenzied and in chaos, because anything can come at you, and you react badly because you're not grounded, and so find grounding points. And that's what it is, and that's maybe just a specific time every day you do a certain thing, whatever it is. Maybe
Yeah.
just wash the dishes for, whatever it is, just focus on doing those things, because at the end of it, there's a productive result. And then if you just do the smallest thing that improves your life, um, you know, whatever it may be, you're going to look back and say, okay, I have a sense of accomplishment. And if we have a sense of accomplishment, we're more apt to continue to do more things that, benefit our lives, because, we need that. We, as human beings, we need to be validated. We need to think that, if somebody else is not doing it, we're going to have to validate ourselves. And then we can look back and say, wow, I'm glad I cleaned that room. I feel really good about it. Okay, let's
Yeah.
clean the next room,
Yeah.
and it
It's a
builds on
spiritual
itself.
thing, the cleaning process. Dishing or washing dishes is like surprisingly enlightening in a weird way. I don't know what to call that.
Well, your hands and mind are going at the same time. You're accomplishing something, and it's a lot going on there that works.
Yeah, that's why like monks will wash dishes and rake leaves and sweep
Yeah,
floors. It's like this whole process. I have a routine too. I wake up, I read, I exercise. I like to walk around the city and like see
yeah,
like all the crazy people. I used to walk around the
right.
farm when I lived at the farm, and I would
Hmm.
listen to the birds. And then
Yeah, that's
retreating
nice.
to silence is something really powerful. There's something you hear louder things in that silence sometimes
Yeah,
uh, than you'll ever hear out in public. And as far as like exercise, if people are struggling with that, one thing I can suggest, because I've been around 300 pounds twice in my life. I've lost 100 pounds twice. So I would say if I can do it twice, anybody can do it once, and they could at least
there you
lose 10.
go.
So like one thing I've always suggested is if rainy days and seasons and all these things get people off track, it might be expensive, but figure out a way to buy a treadmill and
Yeah,
put it in front of a TV if that's what you need to do, and watch a movie every day or a documentary or something and just walk. And it'll
yeah,
force you to get like almost 2 hours of exercise every day and you'll be in
yeah. And that's
perfect.
that's huge.
Yeah, that's how I did it. I usually wrap up after 30 minutes. So I was
Okay.
going to go ahead and call it soon. This has been a good interview. I really enjoyed this. I like the
Yeah,
spiritual
no,
thing too. Um,
yeah, I'm glad we could hook up. I mean, because I love what you do. I mean, I read something that you posted a couple of days ago, it had in regards to love, and, just being,
yeah,
and I reposted that because I'm like, that's really good. I mean, you have a lot of great stuff out there. And I mean, I
thank
really
you.
resonate with your feeling and how, what your vibe and frequency is. And
Thank
it's
you.
very positive. And that's the most important thing, I guess, in closing. Be positive, because you can make a difference in people's lives. You may not realize it, but hold that door open, say hi, good morning, smile. It, people are going through a lot. You don't know what they're going through, and they may seem like, they're cranky and in a bad mood and don't like you, but, hold one, frown, doesn't help. A smile, can really brighten somebody's day and set them off on a whole new course for the day, and then that impacts other people. So just be as
Yeah,
positive as you can.
I love that. I think that a human smile is in some ways the greatest gift that we can give each other because it's free.
Yeah.
It doesn't require any resources. I mean, just inner
Oh,
happiness in some way. And it
yeah.
provides a lot. I mean, sometimes people are having a really bad day and like a scowl or a smile can kind of shift their entire trajectory. I mean, I know from when I was like super depressed, like the difference and how those two options can either throw you way further into darkness or bring you into the light. It's so simple.
It
Um,
is.
yeah, it's so crazy, and I appreciate the compliment. It took a long
Yeah.
time to find that place. It took a lot of like struggle, but a lot of the struggle I was heaping upon myself, and I just never
Yeah.
knew that I was like perpetuating a negative mindset. So yeah, and routine is the thing. Before we sign off, is there anything that you want to promote or anything? I know that you have a podcast. You want to talk about that or promote it real quick?
Yeah, basically what I do, if you want to find me in anything I do, what I'll do is in the mornings I'll just turn on the camera in the car and I'll just go.
I
No
love
edits.
that.
And that's what I do. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about most of the time. I forget
I
what I was going to
absolutely
even
love your
start
show.
with.
I put it
Thanks.
on. It's part of my routine. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good. If anything, that's my most important thing. If I can say something that inspires you to take a different course for the better, then that's a win for me. And so that's just it. I just want to, try and be positive. I'll throw information out there that I happen to come across during the day, and I just spill it. And it's like stream of consciousness almost. I just say it. And but no, you can find anything I do. Just go to clintwestwood.net, and then I've got links to all that community resources. If you're into crypto, it's just good information for people starting out. It's just a resource page that very simple. But yeah, you can find me there at links to my YouTube and my X account. And so, if you want to get into the inside the head of Westwood and the craziness, that's how you do it. I just put it out there.
No, I love that. And I'm happy that you do it. Just keep doing it. It seems to make you happy. I know it makes other
Yeah,
people happy. And yeah, I always enjoy seeing the sky from through your windows there and
yeah,
stuff. It's
right.
something
You
that
can
I
see
think
the weather
adds, yeah,
and the
it adds a
dogs.
lot to it. Well, all right, man, this has been good. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. This has been Clint Westwood. I've been Nathan, and hopefully I can keep being that guy. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. All right, here we
Thanks,
go.
Nathan.
We're going to stop.